This is the Greenworks 18-inch battery-powered chainsaw. We're gonna go over all the features of it and make some cuts so you can decide whether or not it's right for you. All right, so from the very beginning, let's start with this 18-inch bar we've been talking about. Of course, it comes with a scabbard, all chainsaws should. And you notice very, very similar to the 16-inch version of this saw. It's just an 18-inch bar. Still have a full house chain on here. We're not doing the skip tooth thing anymore. And also notice Greenworks has gone with metal bucking spikes here. So with the bigger bar covering some bigger wood, you're gonna be able to bite in better than having plastic spikes here. So we really like that. Moving around here to the oil reservoir, just like we expect it to be, it is translucent so we can see our oil levels in there. And then when it comes time to add some oil, our cap just flips up, and if your hands aren't as sweaty as mine, it's a lot easier. And they got some texture on here, and this is nice because even without gloves on, I can grip this and open it up, and it is captured. Of course, you don't want that oil cap falling into all the sawdust you've been creating, so we obviously like that feature as well. And it's just simple, whether you're wearing gloves or not, to be able to get into that reservoir like that. Typical brake system, yeah, inertia-based, so you hear that click. Now, if you ever have a chainsaw, battery-powered especially, and you pull the trigger and it's not running for some reason, this is the first thing to check. Just make sure you've got that pulled back to reset the brake on it. Should be good to go from there. Looking around at the handle area here, we got 90 degrees of grip area here for the front, and that's so that we can cut vertically, horizontally, and still be able to maintain a safe grip. And then back here, notice we have a single finger trigger. You can get 2 fingers on there if you really want to. The tension's not so much that you need that second finger, but you got it if you want it. And then your trigger safety is right here above it. So when you grab with your right hand, your thumb naturally comes across it, pull the trigger, you're good to go. Now, on the other side, it's not ambidextrous. So if you are left-handed and you're trying to grab around the other side, it's gonna be a little bit weird, but this front handle in particular, it's designed for you to be holding with your right back here and then working with your left on the front handle. Let's flip this guy around, take a look at a couple other things here. Now, whenever you have to have a scrunch, which is most of the time with a chainsaw, we've seen it in the handle before, which is kind of nice. Greenworks puts it right here. So it is on a rubberized holder, and you can see, you know, that rubberization of it just holds that shaft. So it's not, even if I've got it here, it's not gonna vibrate out, and even the head on the screwdriver side isn't gonna let it out. And of course you need that because you've got your bar studs here, and that's what you're going to use that for. And then the flathead side, this is your chain tensioner. All right, so if you notice, take a look at how we have the chain. It should be a little loose. That's normal for a chainsaw. You don't want it too loose. You also don't want it too tight. Okay, so that's just about right. But if we need to adjust it, we're going to come in here. You don't have to take these nuts all the way off. Just loosen them a little bit. Half a turn to 3/4 of a turn is usually enough. And then that's going to release the pressure here, and then you can use the flathead side. You'll feel that slotted. I'm kind of blocking the camera there. You'll feel it slotted. Get in there, and then all you're doing is turning, and that is actually pulling those studs. There's a stud inside, and it's pulling back or forth to move that bar slightly in or out and give you the chain tension that you need. So let's put that back where we had it, and make sure we're safe to cut. All right, and then tighten these guys back up. Doesn't have to be super tight. You don't want to over tighten it and damage the threads or damage the housing, but you do want it to be secure. All right. Put our scrunch back in there. And then aside from the battery, that's pretty much it. It's a very simple, very approachable saw to use. Now, what we brought with us today is a 2.5 amp hour battery. The kits are going to come with either a 4 or a 5, and you're actually going to get a little bit more power than we've got here, but I'm going to blame Josh for this one. He brought the 2.5. We're going to cut with it anyway. So, like most battery-powered products, very easy. Just slides in the top. We can check. We do have 2 bars left on this one, so we're getting toward the bottom half of our performance. But then it's really, really simple. You push that trigger safety in. Make sure you got a second hand on the saw. You don't want to be cutting one-handed with a saw this size. So push that safety in. Your saw comes to life. All right, so let's make a couple of cuts here right on this and show you what it can do. And then I think Austin said he also got some shots of Josh cutting some bigger stuff with us. All right, so even with that small battery, plenty of power to make that cut. Good sharp chain that comes on this, it's making the cut. I'm barely having to put any downforce on it. The motor, that brushless motor, is really keeping those RPMs going and just melting through those cuts. This is probably, I'm gonna say close to between 8 and 10 inches. I didn't bring a measuring tape out here to know for sure, but that's what it looks like to me. As far as pricing goes on this saw, you're looking at $259.99 for the bare tool if you've already got some Greenworks 60-volt batteries. If you don't, you need the kit. There's a 4 amp hour and a 5 amp hour. Both of them are running $399.99 regular price. We did see that the 4 amp hour kit was $349.99 at Tractor Supply, and that's a great place to get these at Tractor Supply, or you can order them through Greenworks directly. Regardless of how you go, you're gonna get a 4-year warranty on the tool, and that's gonna cover you for a lot of cutting. You have any other questions about this saw? Feel free to leave those in the comments below, and as always, thanks for watching.